They're fired up on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. The basketball Irish off to their best start in 4 years, and tonight they play host to one of the best teams in the country. The 5th-ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama in town with their perfect 7-0 record to take on the Irish. They are 6-1. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Sean McDonough along with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us. Gentlemen, still very early in this college basketball season, but both of these teams have made a big positive impression. And in the case of Alabama, we're talking about one of the best teams in the country.
And we're talking about one of the most physical teams in the country. I think this is going to be an important test for Alabama. Notre Dame's a team that drilled the Crimson Tide last year down at Alabama, and they're going to have to really extend their defense to get out the three-point shooters. This is Alabama's first real road game, and it's going to be against a team that's playing very well and very confident.
A Notre Dame team coming off a win against Maryland in their last outing, their signature win so far this year. Their coach, Mike Braybill, says it's already been a good week. It has a chance to be a great week.
It's a resume game. And by the way, I've seen your resume. I'm very disappointed. These add up. I think it's very important they get their confidence. They're playing good basketball. It would do a great deal for his program.
But a Notre Dame team left on the bubble the last 3 seasons in the NCAA tournament. They would like an early season resume builder. Let's take a look now at Star Watch. Last year, these two teams met in Tuscaloosa. As a matter of fact, 1 year ago tonight, and Colin Falls was the star of the Notre Dame win.
Well, Notre Dame won 78-71. The Irish hit 11 threes in the ballgame. Colin Falls hit 7, scored 24 points. He has got to be a focal point of this Alabama defense. They've got to find him, make him put the ball on the floor.
One of the premier point guards or shooting guards in the country, Ronald Steele, playing a little gimpy, not quite himself, but gets to the line, as you can see. A guy that can shoot deep, put it on the deck, and an excellent passer, Sean.
Now let's take a look at our Pizza Hut starting lineups for Alabama Steel, joined by Mikhail Riley, Alonzo G, Richard Hendricks, and Jamario Davidson, who's averaging a double-double this point in the season. For Notre Dame, Kyle McElharney will run the show. Russell Carter, a double-figure scorer in every game so far this year. With the senior Falls, Rob Kurz, who's been their leading scorer and rebounder to date, and Luke Zeller. Great atmosphere in the building. Students are happy. They had their last day of classes yesterday. Now they're getting ready for finals. As a matter of fact, after this game, Notre Dame will take 8 days off to take their finals. The Irish coached by Mike Bray, one of the great gentlemen in this sport, in his 7th season as head coach of the Irish. In the NCAA tournament, his first 3 years, the NIT the last 3, hoping this great start will propel them back to the field of 65. And Mark Gottfried, in the 9th year as head coach at his alma mater, he's had them in the NCAA tournament each of the last 5 years, including the Elite 8, their deepest run ever in the tournament in 2004. Notre Dame in white, their fans dressed in black primarily. It's Blackout the Joyce Center night. And the Irish with Luke Zeller control the tip.
Sean McDonough, a little disappointment. A 2-3 zone by Bama with man-to-man principles.
Amazing you could pick out those man-to-man principles in only 3 seconds of them actually playing that zone defense. Russell Carter tried to bounce it to the baseline to Rob Kurz, and it was picked off by Alonzo G. Now Steele, arguably the best point guard in the country, and he traveled. He's been hobbled throughout the season by tendonitis in his right knee. It forced him to sit out a couple of games. He returned over the weekend for their last game against Tennessee State.
And Mike Bray telling us he wants to up-tempo, take advantage of his open shooting.
Well, he also doesn't want to have to grind it out every possession against this Alabama defense. And Kyle McElharney, that's what he did to Maryland in the second half, an outstanding shooter.
Shooting 38% so far this year from three-point range is McElharney, the sophomore from Staten Island, New York, with the first points of the game.
Pick and pop.
And Steele trying to answer with a 3-ball. G got a hand on the rebound. Now he hits the deck with Zeller. It's a held ball, says Mike Stewart. Mike Stewart, Bob Donato, and Ed Corbett are the officials.
Sean, Alabama does a great job getting to the high post and dumping it down. They're an excellent interior passing team. And, Jay, that jacket's been around a while, huh?
Boy, I'd like a full-size car, please, and I'll fill it up when I bring it back.
Looks like an old TWA representative.
Steele. Guarded by Zeller. Still 20 to shoot. G
Nice.
quickly inside, and Davidson with the dunk. The senior from Atlanta, the only senior on this Alabama team.
And Davidson's actually a terrific cutter as well, Jay. Really understands position, anticipates, gets there early.
Well, he's got great feet. He's got a back to the basket game, and he can step away as well. Rapidly improving, and he was very good last year.
First team All-SEC last year. Shared their team high scoring honors for the season with Steele. They were both just over 14 per game. G rebounded a miss, and now the Tide looking for its first lead, and Steele got knocked to the deck by Kyle McElharney.
I talked about the inside passing. They do a nice job ducking in, sealing their guy. Right now it looks like a little bit of a combo defense in the back, so he takes advantage by pinning the smaller McElharney.
Well, that's where McElharney's either got to get in front or just stay behind and make him shoot over.
The runner goes for McHale Riley, a junior from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in his first year at Alabama. JC transfer from Panola in Texas, where he led the nation in steals last year. Colin Falls responds with a three.
Well, the 2-3 zone is going to give them opportunities. I've got to think Steele, they're playing the 2-3, maybe not to punish that leg of his.
Well, they're going to have to punish it at some point because they can't leave him open. You've got to make Colin Falls put it on the deck, and there's that interior passing that you're talking about, Bill. You've got to get a lot of pressure on either Hendricks or Davidson up top in that 1-4 set. When they go high-low, they pass to each other very, very effectively.
Davidson fed Hendricks. Coach Gottfried at the workout this morning talking about the passing ability of both big men, their ability to set each other up, and there was a great example of it. And that apparently is a long two. No indication of a three-pointer from any of the officials. Now they're going to go to the monitor. Ed Corbett was the official nearest Luke Zeller as he launched the shot. He never put an arm in the air. They're going to check it. Mike Stewart
They go with two.
two.
Yep. Zeller making that outside shot. If he can do some damage inside, it's certainly going to help their cause. They got plenty of big bodies up front, Notre Dame.
Yeah, and they're pretty athletic. I mean, when you take a look at Rob Kurz and Luke Zeller and Zach Hillsland, they are athletic. And, of course, Russell Carter, the best athlete on the floor for Notre Dame. The one thing they have to do, Notre Dame, if they want to win this game, they have got to rebound.
And that's been a big surprise in this early season for Notre Dame. They're out rebounding their opponents by 12 per game. They've not been known as a powerful rebounding team in recent years. And they lost to Ren Francis off their team of a year ago to graduation. He's now playing in Italy. The Irish have been running more often this year, averaging nearly 85 points per game.
And so they really put pressure on you. They widen the floor, makes an easy entry pass to Kurz.
Hendricks the block. It came back to Kurz, however. Three out of the corner for Falls. And the long rebound to Jamario Davidson.
Boy, the most effective time for Notre Dame to shoot a three is after an offensive rebound.
Steele. And now one official signaled three. The other two, they're having a hard time figuring it out on these long shots. They're going back to the monitor again. Zeller's bucket for Notre Dame was ruled a two.
Do our ratings go up when the officials watch TV?
They get their mug on, but this kid can hurt you in so many different ways. We've seen him handle the ball. He's got a great crossover, freezes you, knocks down the jumper, you back off. He drills it.
He's got a great first step. An Iron Man, Bill, never comes out of the ball game injured or not.
40-plus last year, a game. Nice ball fake.
Falls shed the defender with the fake, then missed the shot. Falls, at the end of the season, will in all likelihood be their all-time leader in three-point field goals made.
Herringody and Hendricks, excuse me, Jay, what two solid blocks down there.
Luke Herringody, a freshman off the Notre Dame bench. It's Davidson again. He's coming off a 22-point effort Saturday in their win over Tennessee State, his high-point game of the year. To date, averaging 15.
I think that's his most effective shot, is that turnaround jump shot over his right shoulder.
Out of bounds, Notre Dame will have it when we come back. 3-point lead for Alabama on the road in South Bend.
ESPN This exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Lexus December to Remember sales event, now through January 2nd. And A Diamond is Forever. This Christmas, say everything without saying a word.
It was a cold and occasionally snowy day here on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. Inside the Joyce Center, Alabama with a 3-point lead as we go inside the play. Bill?
And Jay, we've talked about the UCLA set. This is that little shuffle cut they get out of here, but you'll see the ability to duck in this way. If you take that away, the lob, and you wouldn't let that guy get the ball on the elbow if you were guarding him, would you?
No, I would have tried to deny Jermario Davidson the ball, and on that possession, when he did catch it, one thing Rob Kurz needed to do was put a lot more pressure so that Davidson wasn't able to throw that pass. He tried to make him turn his back, because these two, Hendricks and Davidson, really superior interior passers that looked for each other.
McElharney along with the three, and it's run down in the corner by Alonzo G.
One thing you know, Notre Dame's not going to stop shooting, because when they get hot, they can score a lot of points in a hurry.
And this team gets the ball inside. Good help defensively
by Carter to knock it out of bounds. Mike Bray goes back to his bench. Zach Hillsland, a sophomore, has come in for Rob Kurz. About a 9-man rotation so far this year for Mike Bray.
A nice screen across for the easy look.
And Hendricks missed it. Then Davidson missed a wide open follow, got it back and scored on the second try.
Notre Dame getting pounded on the glass right now.
They've now rebound 6-1. Russell Carter fouled. He'll go to the line trying to end a 7-0 Alabama run.
And that's the difference for Notre Dame right there. After a made basket, they inbound it quickly and get it down court to try to attack this defense before it gets set up.
How about the foot speed of Carter? Oh my goodness, he just exploded to the 10.
Considered their best athlete. Russell, now a senior from Paulsboro, New Jersey. Really came on last year. His first 2 years in this program, a deep bench player, not much of a factor, averaged under 3 points per game his first 2 seasons. Last year, 11.5 per game. And this year, their second leading scorer at over 15 per ball game.
And this pressure, they like to three-quarter court, back it in, usually to a 2-3 zone at the end of it.
This slows the advance.
Big thing is rebounding here. You mentioned or alluded to it earlier, Jay. Nice look.
They tried that high-low passing again. Davidson for Hendricks. Hendricks wasn't expecting it. The pass hit him in the hands. But he thought it was going to be a shot launched by Davidson. We mentioned Notre Dame's surprising rebound advantage through their first 7 games. But tonight being hammered on the boards by the Tide.
Hillsland can beat his guy with the dribble. This is a nice match for him.
Sophomore from Toledo, did not play much at all last year, but has been a key energy and glue guy, as Mike Bray says, off their bench so far this season. Shot clock at 7. Hillsland.
Double tick.
That was last touched by Falls. Good call by Bobby Donato right in front of us.
Heck of a defensive trip there, wasn't it? Whoa.
Well, Alabama making it very difficult for Notre Dame to penetrate.
Only one opponent has shot more than 40% so far this year against Alabama. They played great defense all year. That was Middle Tennessee State, and the Blue Raiders shot 42%. Long 3 missed by Davidson. He has made 2 so far from beyond the arc this year.
And Marcus letting him do it too, Jay.
And you can see the athleticism and the length of Mikhail Riley getting that rebound over the top.
Steals miss, run down by the freshman Herringody. He is a bruiser at 6'8", 250 pounds. Broken a couple of his teammates' noses in practice. His shot blocked by Hendricks. The Irish student section at that end wanted a goaltending call. Riley runs the floor for Alabama.
Talk about defense. That's why you don't shoot high field goal percentage against Alabama. They did not give up on that play.
The lead 6 for the Tide. And a travel called against Russell Carter.
Herringody with a nice spin, trying to use the basket in order to shield the shot block, but Hendricks able to go right after it using quick feet and athleticism, and he is just a horse inside, Richard Hendricks.
foul prone they feel earlier this year. I think he gets a lot of bangs because he's so big. People move and he gets the call.
6'8", 265 for Hendricks, sophomore from Athens, Alabama. On the bench, he's been replaced by Demetrius Jemison, number 23. Jemison with an offensive rebound and fouled on a reach-in by Colin Falls. ESPN has more college basketball Sunday night, 8 Eastern time. The 11th-ranked LSU Tigers face the Texas Longhorns. Sunday Showdown presented by Alltel Wireless on ESPN, 8 Eastern time. Don't miss it. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Alabama actually picked to finish ahead of LSU in the SEC West in the preseason poll. And that's an LSU team with a number of key performers back from their run to the Final Four of a year ago. That tells you how highly regarded this Alabama team is.
It's a tough league.
And I think the one reason that Alabama is above LSU in those rankings is because they've got Ronald Steele. They have the superior point guard.
Mitchell and Temple. Heck of a game, by the way, with Texas. Jay and I got a chance to see them play last week. I don't know if you had time to tune in.
I did, to hear myself disparaged over and over again. As you worked with a real pro, Dave O'Brien. I wish I had nickel for every time one of you said that.
Well, at least we
personally or anything, but recovered after a week of therapy.
At least he was a gentleman, on and off the air.
Did you say something? I'm tuning it out. It goes in one ear and out the other. Probably like Mark Gottfried's going to do with your comment about his red blazer.
Now, jumping into this offense, Jay and Sean, Notre Dame's going to have to dribble, drive, and then get a passing lane because they're going to block their shot. So the big guys have to present themselves in an opening, make themselves available.
And also they're going to have to follow every shot attempt because oftentimes the one who gets a shot block is the one who had his shot blocked. So if you stick with it, you can get a second opportunity.
2 free throws by McElharney. Have the Irish back within 6. He's an outstanding free throw shooter, 91% last year. The miss by Brandon Hollinger, backup guard, who was a part-time starter last year, just into the game tonight. And at the other end, the freshman Torrey Jackson had his first shot attempt blocked. Jemison took a bump and scored. He bounced off the contact from Colin Falls.
A nice job by Hollinger, too, to make sure his guy had the angle to go to the rim.
It's amazing how many freshmen, and Torrey Jackson is one of them, who make their mistakes by taking the ball too far.
He does that.
I believe they're going to say he was shooting a 3. He was.
Best in the country at getting fouled while shooting a 3.
Incredible.
28th time now in the last 2+ seasons that Colin Falls has been fouled while shooting a 3. He'll shoot the free throws when we come back. Alabama on the road, up by 8. An attractive matchup tonight and on Saturday. A great afternoon of college basketball. A national power meets last year's Cinderella story and an in-state rivalry showdown between 2 ranked teams.
College basketball alive and well.
They're not going to get a shot away. And here they come.
He's feeling it. He's burning down the nuts. What a motion.
Look the buzzer!
For the lead. Got it. What a game. That's incredible. Game over. What a play. What a play. Look at this.
George Mason and Duke at noon Eastern time. A lot of people think the way that Duke team's played so far, that 9 ranking might be a little too high. Wisconsin and Marquette both in the top 20. That's a spirited rivalry. They battle for a lot of the same recruits. We'll be in Milwaukee for that game 2 Eastern time.
Yeah, I think Duke is not worthy right now of that 9 ranking, but they probably will be toward the end of the season. They're a very, very young team that's capable of playing much better than they've been playing lately, but I think that's mostly a function of youth.
Well, there's a phone ringing at the Marriott with a message from Mike.
Yeah,
he's saying you're right.
Well, it's easy to win 47 in a row at home against non-conference opponents when you get the whistles like they got the other night.
Oh, you're not even there and you're attacking.
Listen to this.
By the way, I'm very fortunate. 4 days with you, too, is enough, but these games make up for it. And we got a great one tonight, and Saturday should be terrific.
You actually threw Ace Billis under the bus with me that time.
Well, I don't want to get you a little down. We got a long way to go in this one.
Free throws by Colin falls. Make it 19-13. Davidson a miss. Jemison shot partially deflected. It appeared on the way up by Torrey Jackson. He spots up for three from Hillsland. And then Jackson a reaching foul. Looked like he got the ball from here, but Ed Corbett said he got Nikhil Riley.
Well, a good play by Hillsland to take the ball up the floor, but the truth is he should have looked opposite because he had Colin Falls on the other side, and Falls was open. And when you have a choice, you've got to give it to Falls.
First foul on Jackson.
Jackson's really been a nice job not letting Steele get the ball back, and he's almost posting up out here to get it.
Well, Alabama's showing some pretty good patience offensively.
Oh, a little kiss.
Hollinger. The kiss from three for the sophomore from Mobile out of LaFleur High School, where he was on a great 35-1 team his senior year and was the state Class 6A Player of the Year.
You just can't smile when it happens like this, but this is a ball reversal. Steele doesn't make many mistakes. Make sure he didn't gamble, and this one, well, that's what it's there for.
Russell Carter back into the Irish. For Alabama, 35, Richard Hendricks.
Last foul on Hollinger. That's his second. And the team sixth.
Well, Falls is not going to miss many of those. How quick does he set those feet?
They got a great screen on the out-of-bounds play, and boy, Mike Gray getting pretty good looks for him.
Hendricks to the bucket. Oh, he tipped it in. Offensive basket interference, and they wave off the goal. Alabama dominating inside. They've had 10 points in the paint. The Irish have not scored in the lane yet.
Somehow you need an inside presence, a catch, an attack, and maybe a kick opposite.
As Chris Quinn ran the show last year for Notre Dame, now in the NBA with the Miami Heat. So it's Kyle McIlharney very confidently running the point this year. And Russell Carter buries a three. First Irish field goal in nearly 7 minutes.
Good help here.
Hillis land on Steele. The three wouldn't go. Foul on the rebounding action. McIlharney gave a little shove in the back to Demetrius Jemison as he went for the offensive rebound.
Notre Dame switching a lot of these screens, and that means a little guy like Kyle McIlharney is winding up inside, and McIlharney's got the responsibility to try to rebound and box out, and that's a lot to ask of your point guard.
2 fouls on McIlharney, 4 on the Irish here in the first half. Nearly midway through the half, a 6-point lead for Alabama. They flew up from Tuscaloosa this morning. Despite the forecast of snow, there was a difficulty in scheduling their charters. They don't usually travel day of the game, but they landed in Gary about an hour and change away and then bust up here in time for a mid-afternoon shoot-around. Hendricks threw an incomplete pass, the 4th turnover for Alabama.
And they were very relaxed, though, in the shoot-around. They got a good night's sleep, and after they thought they might get out last night at 11 at night, it would have really been a wasted evening. Of course, for you two, you're just going out.
Well, typical of Mark Gottfried, he said, oh, the plane ride ain't going to beat us. Notre Dame might, but the plane ride ain't going to.
He might beat them, too. He keeps lighting it up. Russell from deep with the neck down.
Deep contested three. That has the crowd, most of them clad in black, fully engaged in the proceedings. And they're playing to well below capacity crowds here this year off the 3 straight NIT appearances, but the 6-1 start has them back and enthusiastic tonight.
A little mistake on the perimeter against Notre Dame you usually pay for, but it's generally Falls or McIlharney.
Got away with a little hop there into that shot.
Luke's got to compete on the glass and keep Hendricks from ducking in.
Hillsland called for the last foul, and a charitable bounce off the rim and in for Alonzo G., the sophomore from Palm Beach, Florida, averaging 15 points per game. Zeller, former Mr. Basketball in Indiana, You have to deem the start to his career a bit of a disappointment. Highly recruited, averaged only 3.5 points per game last year, and hasn't been much more of a factor so far this year.
And a great job by Falls, who's using the dribble to get a shot off much better. That time the penetration and kick.
The 2-3 zone now from Notre Dame after the make.
And the three against that zone from Riley. He's capable of lighting it up. Last 2 games, 8 out of 15 from three-point range.
Well, he's a good shooter, and better than that, he really goes to the glass and can really run the floor.
Kerr's a miss, and Hendricks the rebound in traffic. The hit ahead to G, and a foul called. Falls and Kerr's both there. Neither thought they committed a foul.
Could have been a play on, but what a nice kick out by Hendricks. And Jay, this is what he has to do, I think, Falls. Put it on the deck and be creative, maybe for himself, but nice job here.
Well, he draws so much attention because he can make shots, but you have got to make him put the ball on the floor. That's not a bad play for Alabama to get him to dribble it and get inside that three-point line.
2 fouls on Falls. G misses the first of 2.
That's one area where Alabama has not been stellar thus far this season, only shooting 63% from the line as a team.
They were 71% last year, and G, a notable offender in that area, at 60% for the season. A lob a little too high for Carter from Falls.
He's much better when he's shooting it.
Mike Bray asking, what are we doing? What is that?
Didn't really need this one. I mean, that's a tough delivery for a point guard. Nice play
by Corey Jackson. Stripped Hendricks. Falls 1-on-2. Foul. Count it.
They left him in. You mentioned the 2 fouls. They went to the 3-quarter press, created the turnover on the post pass, and then the senior with confidence, taking it strong.
You know, you're thinking one of the few times that Colin Falls gets a 2-point basket, but he's going to turn it into a 3. Very good concentration, body balance, and finishing ability.
For his career, 83% of his field goals have been threes, so that was a rare 2-pointer. He made the free throw. The foul on Brandon Hollinger, his 3rd. So he has gone to the bench. He plays valuable minutes for Alabama. Under 8 minutes to go. Fans on their feet at the Joyce Center with Notre Dame back within 4. And a chance to get closer after the Riley miss, rebounded by Carter.
Well, it seems like Alabama hit a couple jump shots, and now they've fallen in love with the perimeter. They've still got to bang that ball inside.
Carter, another deep 3.
How about that catch and shoot? Lock and load.
Timeout, Alabama. Russell Carter with 3 threes here in the first 12 minutes plus. He has 10 points already, and Notre Dame as close as it has been since the score was 9-8.
And they haven't been easy shots. The quick jack, well, confidently. The kiss, better big fella.
Jermario Davidson, their leading scorer and rebounder for the year.
He drags the center. Somebody's got a high baseline. Nice play. That's terrific execution by Bray and his team.
Jackson found Kerr's. First bucket for Rob Kerr's.
Zeller set it up by being available at the foul line.
One of the problems with the zone, and especially when you have so many big guys, they tend to stand.
Steele, a 3 for Alabama.
They worked on their conditioning, Notre Dame, this year. They were going to push it. Showed up early.
Falls for 3. And he's fouled again for the 2nd time tonight while shooting a 3. For the 5th time this year and the 29th time in the last 2 seasons, plus the start of this one. Jackson to Kerr's, a pretty play, and the Irish on the run at the moment.
Hide and seek. the pot of gold here, all the ability to shoot. Look where everybody's up, and that opens up the passing lane. Jackson gets into the middle and look right down the lane. That's tough to cover.
And what really happened there, Alonzo G along the back side of it was really worried about them kicking it out to
Russell
Carter for a three, and he wound up leaving his man.
Crazy. Just a little execution done properly. And by the way, Digger, nice to see him in town. Great impact here on this university and city.
Continues. Colin Falls makes the free throw. The Notre Dame women had a big win here last night against one of the top-ranked teams in the country, Purdue, an in-state rival. And in the front page of the South Bend sports section this morning, our colleague Digger Phelps credited with playing a part in the victory. Coach Muffet McGraw said Digger helped with a 1-3-1 zone that she installed. That was an important part of the game.
Well, you can't overstate what Digger brings to the table.
When I saw his name, I thought it was going to say Digger needs help.
Let's send Digger lends a helping hand. The headline, which of course Digger suggested himself to the headline writers at the local paper. Another three out of the corner for Alonzo G, who came into the ballgame just 3 out of 15 for the year from three-point range, but he's 2 for 2 tonight.
He's terrific in the open floor. They've contained him in that area.
Carter's shot struck the side of the backboard. Kurz had it swatted away. Steal, the lob for G.
That's him.
And Mike Bray wants a quick timeout. Alonzo G was the MVP of the Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. Off to a great start here tonight. Let's check in with Dari Noka now, a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, guys, a little breaking news in college football as the University of Miami has a new head football coach. It is Randy Shannon, the team's defensive coordinator. 40-year-old Miami native accepted the job today, according to the Miami Herald. He, of course, will replace Larry Coker, who was fired after 6 seasons. Rich Rodriguez, West Virginia head coach, currently mulling over an offer from Alabama to become the Tide head coach. According to Joe Shadd, it's a 6-year offer worth $12 million. Next Sports Center at 11 Eastern. ESPN News is always on. Sean, Bill, and Jay, back to you.
All right, Dari, thank you. There's the front page of the local sports section today. Digger Phelps lends a hand in the Notre Dame women upset of Purdue last night. They've already put a banner up.
He doesn't seek the highlights either. You know, he's such a humble guy.
It was impressive to see Digger on that ladder today, putting that banner up there.
They're trying to drag the bigs away.
Kurz got fouled. Strong move to the bucket, and he got belted by Jamario Davidson.
Mike Bray's really fond of talking about his ability. Kurz has toughened up. He's gotten a little bit stronger and bigger. Plays in the Philly League. Brings a lot to the table for this team.
Leading scorer and rebounder, averaging nearly 16 points, 8 rebounds per game. Junior from Lower Gwinnett, Pennsylvania. He's had to toughen up. Broke his jaw a couple of years ago. Earlier this year, had his nose broken in practice by a Luke Herringody elbow. That required surgery, caused him to miss a couple of days of practice.
And that's not the last nose that Herringody's going to break.
Steele did a great job to draw the foul from the freshman Torrey Jackson.
It is amazing that Herringody, you mentioned, some guys just have a way of imparting bangs and punishment to their own teammates.
Well, he's just so physical, Luke Herringody, but he is a really, really good basketball player. A player with a really good feel. He can score inside and rebound and defend.
Good feet, too. Very quick.
Steele at the line. Led the SEC in free throw shooting last year, over 91% in league games, 12th in the country overall at 89%. McElharty back in. Steele had only been to the line this year 8 times. Entering tonight's game largely because of that knee that has been sore, and you can see he's hobbled again tonight as he goes up and down the floor. Hasn't been penetrating, getting to the basket as much.
He didn't look good earlier, and now he seems to be hobbling.
I don't think there's a better point guard in America than Ronald Steele when he's healthy.
Herringody to Kurz. Seeing that big-to-big, high-low action at each end. Very successfully run by both teams tonight.
Yeah, you're right, Sean. He is not himself right out here.
And they're worried it could be the kind of thing that's chronic. Wow, Riley flies in to get his own miss and scores inside.
Well, that's what they like about him, his activity. You mentioned his ability to shoot it. It's up and down the floor.
So rangy with those long arms and the athleticism, and he goes to the glass, which is a big factor.
Wow, Carter, boy, does he bounce into those threes and get great elevation. That's his fourth. All of them on the move. And the Irish back within 3 as we approach 4 minutes to go in the half.
And G a little tardy. Nice cross-court look.
Riley a miss. Poked out by Carter. And now corralled by McElharney. The 4th all-time leading scorer in the history of New York State high school basketball. McElharney, more than 2,500 points in high school. Kurz missed a shorty. Rebound Riley.
Now they're challenging him a little bit more, though. Nice cut, nice pass.
A shake and bake move by Steele and a goaltend against Kurz. And McElharney faked right out of his socks.
Get the lingerie off the deck.
At the free throw line by Steele.
The blow-by. How about that? Can be embarrassing some evenings.
Yeah, Dari, originally Mal Moore, the athletic director at Alabama, was scheduled to be at this game tonight, but he has something else on his plate right now. Looking for a new football coach. Alabama in basketball ranked in the top 5 in the country for the first time since January 2003 and leading by 5 here tonight at Notre Dame, their first visit ever to the Joyce Center. Notre Dame with 3.5 minutes to go in the half with the ball. McElharney with Falls, Herringody, Kurz, and Carter. Herringody. Rebound Kurz. And he gets the roll.
Somehow in the timeout, they said, let's go inside and attack a little. They're being much more involved at that end of the floor.
Well, they're getting to the free throw line, and that's been a factor in this ball game a couple times with Colin Fowles getting fouled on threes, but otherwise they need to keep attacking the inside guys to put them in a position to commit some more fouls.
Davidson open from 16 feet. Carter way up in the air. Actually took the rebound on his way back down to the floor. Kurz. Tip by Herringody. And a foul on Herringody.
Notre Dame football might have an interest in him, huh?
It looks like he could be a big tight end or defensive end, offensive tackle. They list Herringody at 6'8", 250, freshman from Schererville, Indiana.
And he's going to get better at that, put the ball on the deck. And here you can just see the ability to negate shots. You don't get easy releases against Alabama.
Herringody is from a football family. His brother, Ty, is on the football team at Indiana right now. Their dad, Dave, played football at Indiana on the 1979 team that went to the Holiday Bowl. Mike Bray said, I didn't really like our chances recruiting this young man. We're going up against Indiana, among others. And he's from an Indiana family. His mom, a graduate. But Herringody said he really liked this Notre Dame campus. He liked the coaching staff. Mike Bray said he was pulling into his driveway when he got the call from Herringody's dad that his son wanted to speak with him. Mike said, I started driving around my neighborhood listening to the young man telling me he wanted to come to play Notre Dame. My neighbor said, you went by my house about 15 times. What were you doing? He said, I was so caught up in the conversation and so happy, I didn't realize I was making spins around my block. Herringody scores inside.
Well, I guess his mother, the two of them, the brothers, used to fight in the backyard. She had to stop him from playing. Of course, you have the same problem with your brother. When you play golf, you're still fighting.
I never fought my mother in the yard.
How about the big guy, though? He can really load it up down on the pines.
Herringody the rebound. Ticking down to 2 minutes to go. 3 to tie now for Notre Dame. They've trailed through most of the half. McElharney from the free throw line.
And nobody showed defensively a nice poise and hesitation with the bounce. Staten Island zone.
Trying to quiet the crowd. A 3 from Mikhail Riley.
To see him look askance.
Boy, the freshman with a lot of guts to take that shot.
Tough shot.
And off the mark from Carter. And Riley the rebound.
Called Riley a freshman. He's a junior college transfer, but the first-year player.
Nice hands by Falls.
Nearly ripped it away from Jamison, who wound up with Davidson. Then Riley a tip, and finally Kurz corralled for Notre Dame. 1 minute to go in the half. Entertaining game, as you might expect. These two teams both with a lot of confidence, each off to a good start. Falls, Kurz was open, passed it up for McElharney. Falls inside, foul.
Boy, that's good ball movement, an unselfish play. Prime with the bounce. Good solid cuts as well, Jake.
Well, Notre Dame had a wide open three, passed it up, wound up getting fouled, but that's a shot over in the corner. I think Notre Dame's got to pull the trigger on. But now with this foul and a terrific free throw shooter at the line, Notre Dame's going to get a 2-for-1 out of this possession.
2 fouls on Davidson, 8 on the team. Falls making a point to be more of a player inside, do more than just be a standstill three-point shooter. And he shot 8 free throws already in this half.
And that's why you don't want to foul jump shooter, Sean. They fouled him twice on 3-point attempts. That's 6 free throws that he shouldn't have had.
Career 83% free throw shooter. Made a pair. Notre Dame back within 2. And a steal by Carter. Trouble on the dribble. Off to Jackson. What a move to go to the left and tie up the game.
And use the rim to negate the defense. What a solid play. Start it with the D.
The game tied for the first time since it was 6-6.
Boy, good change of defense. Notre Dame dropping back in a zone after starting in man.
They got them
Steele
confused.
trying to respond with the shot clock running out. Steele with his usual numbers. Falls doing most of his damage from the line. The Irish go flying off the court with momentum into their locker room at the half. Tied at 49 as we send you back to Dari Noka, Len Elmore, and Hubert Davis in the studio. It's the UPS Halftime Report.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lincoln, Reach Higher, and eBay. Whatever it is, you can get it on eBay.
And the Irish tied at 49 at halftime. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery. Gentlemen, it was a very entertaining first half.
Well, great change in defense by Notre Dame on the last possession. But I still think Alabama's got to go inside. Get it inside to Davidson and Hendricks. That's where their strength really is.
They're such a good interior passing team. But Sean, Notre Dame starts to go inside, get some touches. I think that's going to help them in the second half if they continue that.
Notre Dame shot 50% in the first half. It's actually just below their season average. No team had shot more than 42% against Alabama for a game this year. Colin Falls, one of the stars of the first half. He had 13 points, played the full 20 minutes. Now Kurz with McElharney, Zeller, and Carter for Notre Dame. Falls off to Carter. He got smacked by Richard Hendricks. Let's take a look at some other stats from the first half. Alabama also shot it well, and both teams successful from beyond the arc.
Big key, the offensive rebounds of Alabama. Alabama did a really nice job on the glass in the first half, and Notre Dame going to have to get a body on somebody. And all 5 guys for the Irish really need to get to the glass, especially the defensive glass.
And did you ever think you'd say Colin Falls? What a great point guard. I mean, he's done some terrific things. That was a great look there on the dive to the rim by Carter.
Well, now he's using that shot as a weapon to set up other things, and he's drawing some attention to himself and dishing it off very nicely.
Carter has scuffled from the free throw line this year at just over 50%. First lead now for Notre Dame since they were ahead 8-6 in the opening moments. Carter leads all scorers with 14 points. Riley has 12 to lead Alabama. Here's Jamario Davidson facing up and putting Alabama back up by 1.
Well, you know, Mark Gottfried's convinced that Jay should be a coach. Made the Final Four on his trip to Kuwait. You called it. Get it inside. Do some damage.
You can't hide talent.
Those who don't understand the rather vague reference to Operation Hardwood, Jay and Mark Godfrey, 2 of the 12 coaches who participated in coaching our troops in Kuwait over the summer. Matt Gallarni, a 3. Your team went to the Final Four. There were only 12. You talk about it like it's...
Well, 8 guys didn't go, including Tom Izzo and Rick Barnes and one Mark Gottfried, but I'm not going to hold it over their heads.
You wouldn't flaunt it.
But I think they're getting tired of the postcards I'm sending them, reminding them that I did go.
Look at this interior defense. Everybody stayed at home.
Ron Steele trying to go by Carter. Dumped it off to Jamario Davidson. Had it blocked out of bounds by Carter. 5 seconds to shoot. There's the postcard from Operation Hardwood in May.
How do you like those shorts I'm wearing?
That's very nice.
I lost my luggage on the way over. Those were bought from the PX.
Mark Godfrey, like Jay, making the trip for the second time. He said that really was, as you said, Jay, a life-changing experience. The motto, adapt and overcome. He used it with his team a lot last year. Borrowed from the military. Points to the clock. 2 seconds to shoot for Alabama. Boy, Notre Dame left him wide open with the shot clock running down, but Riley still missed the 3. And now the Irish with the ball and a chance to build on the 2-point lead. Carter for 3 more. Kerr's at inside position. It winds up in the hands of Zeller.
Now, they're very fortunate. I don't think they need the quick jack. They don't have it early. Run some stuff. Make Alabama play some defense. And being out-scrapped now, the timeout by Alabama.
Largest lead for Notre Dame and a timeout called by the Crimson Tide. Notre Dame by 4, their largest lead, 18 minutes to go. We'll see another power out of the SEC. LSU taking on Texas. Sunday showdown presented by Alltel Wireless. That's 8 Eastern time. Sunday night, the 11th ranked Tigers and the Longhorns, one of the best freshmen in the country, Kevin Durant.
And that'll be a real test for those outstanding freshmen that Rick Barnes brought to Austin to have to play against the physical style of LSU.
Notre Dame's backcourt leading the way. Alabama's strength inside tonight.
I'd like to see what they run out of the timeout. Trying to set a little screen on the other side. And a high-low.
Davidson working on Kerrs. Jamario Davidson short. Alonzo G, the offensive rebound. Swatted by Zeller. G again, blocked by Kerrs. Riley scores for Alabama.
Boy, it looked like G got fouled in there, but he went up strong, and Alabama again dominating the offensive glass.
Kerrs. Looks like his feet weren't quite positioned where he wanted them. And a foul in the rebounding action against Luke Zeller.
Alabama, whenever a shot goes up, they are crashing in from the wings, and G sticking with it. Riley finishing it off, and boy, you got to really like Mikhail Riley and the way he plays. Always goes to the offensive glass. He is a rangy junior.
A little 2-3 zone now. They're going to have some movement, some ball reversal.
Davidson wide open at the free throw line. Been a difficult year for Davidson. Many of you might know the story. His brother in Atlanta, older brother, was shot back in early November. He went to Atlanta to visit his brother, driving with his girlfriend, Nikki Murphy, a student at Alabama. And on the trip, their car went off the road. Nikki was driving, and she died from injuries suffered in the crash. Jamario survived with just a couple of bumps and bruises. In the span of the last month, he's lost his girlfriend in a tragic accident, and we're told his brother is still in danger of not surviving from the gunshot wounds that he suffered.
There's Coach Godfrey talking about him coming to practice, occasionally giving him off just to gather his thoughts. A very difficult time for anybody, much less a youngster.
Well, the entire university community has been very supportive of Jamario, as has his teammates.
Riley rattles one in for Alabama, and the Tide lead now 57-55.
Alabama with a little 1-2-2 three-quarter court pressure, trying to exert that athleticism advantage that they have.
Falls to Carter. Now Kurz with Herringody and McElharney for Notre Dame, and it's Carter, the offensive rebound.
Well, we saw him yesterday rearrange a couple, that time on top and sending it in.
Not sure how long Alabama can go with that 2-3 zone.
Nice back door.
And G fouled at the rim, and a chance for a three-point play.
Boy, that was so nice. Anytime you hit the high post in this UCLA high post offense, you have the chance to go back door, and Alonzo G did just that and dunked it with authority.
How about this one, Sean? Salivate while he elevates. Most of us could never do anything like that.
And
Back door.
Gee, can this guy jump?
These two teams have been blowing their opponents out in the early season. Alabama winning by an average of 17 points per game. Notre Dame by 22 per game, but involved in a tight one tonight, a well-executed game.
Well, Alabama runs a lot of this 1-4 UCLA high post offense. Mark Gottfried really likes it because it gives them high percentage looks. When you hit the high post, immediately you can look back door, and Alonzo G makes that cut once his man gets on the high side of him. And I'll tell you what, he knows how to finish. This is one outstanding athlete. Strong, explosive, and versatile.
Big upside.
He really came on last year, starting with the Notre Dame game. Came in, got double figures, and really established himself as a starter for this Crimson Tide team.
Makes the free throw, just 1 out of 3 from the line tonight. 60% for the year. G wound up on the SEC All-Freshman team last season, averaged 8.5 points per game.
Again, falling back in this 2-3 zone. Jermario Davidson in the middle. Yeah, that's too easy.
It is. I mean, there's a little bump. Got him free. I've got to attribute it to Steele. You know, maybe trying to protect him defensively because of that difficulty with his knee.
16 now for Colin Falls. Hendricks a couple of tries at it. Now G fouled and a chance for 3 more.
No white shirts around either. I mean, the lob didn't work. And Jay mentioned what this guy can do around the rim. He's got a big upside. Really a talented performer. He keeps after it as well. He's tenacious.
Well, they're just playing volleyball up on the rim. Nice pass in by Davidson. It just wasn't finished by Hendricks, but he kept it alive. And it is all red underneath the basket going after rebounds. There are no white shirts at all.
There's G again. His difficulties continue from the line. G's a talented artist, keeps a sketchbook with him. They said he was drawing on the way up here, particularly excels in pencil drawings. Learned appreciation for art from his dad, who's a talented artist.
Nice.
Oh, is that pretty? Herringody off the feed from Kurz.
Where they are picking it apart.
Herringody's keeping a diary of his freshman season for his hometown paper, the Northwest Times in Northwest Indiana. Falls, kind of a silly foul, lazy foul as he bumped G, who continues to go back to the line. This is his 3rd opportunity for the old-fashioned three-point play in the last couple of moments, and you can see he's stressing a bit about the free throws.
What's amazing, it just happened. They lull you as we were talking off air. They didn't do it the first half. They got one, and you should be ready. That trip, Colin was not.
Well, Herringody in his diary might be saying Alabama dominated the offensive glass, and the back door was open time and time again.
And Herringody's got to do a better job on the boards for Notre Dame. Falls wide open again for 3. Hendricks controls the rebound. Alabama with the ball and a 4-point lead as they try to open up a little breathing room.
When he gets his hands on it, get out of town. He is a big physical specimen.
Notre Dame not really guarding out past the three-point line now. This is their 11 defense. Good hands by Carter.
He created the steal. Herringody finishes.
How about the way he protected there? Made sure the big fella couldn't come in the gate.
He went from about the three-point line in his defensive end all the way to the bucket, showing the ability to handle the ball on the open floor at 6'8", 250.
The steal is really hobbling, too. Ooh, they got an offensive foul. Hendricks.
Knocked down Herringody. That's tough to do.
Russell Carter trying to knock away the ball off that cut, and Herringode really did do a nice job of shielding off that shot from Davidson, so he'd have to go over his body in order to block it.
2 fouls on Hendricks. He has gone to the bench, and Yameen Coleman, a redshirt freshman, has come in. McElharney kicked it out for Kurtz. Carter turns into a 3.
You mentioned that in the first half. It doesn't look like he's going to take the shot, but he squares up and delivers.
5th 3 of the night for Carter. Foul on the rebounding action against Alabama's Yameen Coleman.
Steele hasn't had many looks at all, and this one, he's such an unerring shooter. Of course, on the other end, terrific ball movement, then the square up and knockdown by Carter.
Boy, that's not an easy shot to have to square up at the three-point line.
McElharney a 3.
Wow.
What an explosive shooting team Notre Dame is.
And Mark Gottfried said he was afraid of their spurts as they did against Maryland.
They had a 5-minute span against Maryland in the second half when Notre Dame went on a 25-7 run. The key to their win over the Terps. Trying to make it back-to-back wins over ranked teams. Steele, little hand check foul against Russell Carter.
Well, he closed quickly but reached in, and that's easy to do against a talented guy that can blow by you like Steele.
You see Mike Bray calling out their defense for Notre Dame. That is a defense called 11, and it's man-to-man. And what he's telling his team is, I don't want you guarding out past that three-point line. Let's pack it in and make sure they can't go backdoor.
Davidson.
What a check out by the little guy, McElharney.
He leads the Irish push. Herringode had it blocked by Hendricks, or by Coleman rather. Davidson off the Steele setup. Unlucky as it rattled out to Herringode.
And they slow it down. McElharney's actually the one that needs to rest.
Not sure that was the shot that Alabama wanted. I think that was a possession to go inside.
Little one-handed runner by Kyle McElharney.
I'll tell you, this kid says all sorts of records at Moore Catholic, filling it up.
Timeout, Alabama.
Kyle McElharney just going past that high screen. Nobody picked him up, and that was a very nice touch shot by the sophomore, who is in really fabulous condition this season and has emerged as a real leader for this Notre Dame team.
2,566 points. Mike Quick, who does a lot of television in the New York area, he told me about this kid in high school. Over half court is his range. Extraordinary feel and playing with confidence. And the word that Mike used, he's got moxie.
Well, he's kind of reminds you a little bit of Jerry McNamara with the way he plays and how tough-minded he is.
Notre Dame hasn't had back-to-back wins over ranked teams since 2002. Early in the 2002-2003 season, they had a memorable 6-day stretch when they beat Marquette, Maryland, and Texas, all ranked in the top 20. Trying to make it back-to-back wins over Maryland and now Alabama. And a whistle away from the ball against Notre Dame.
Nabin falls on a hole, Sean.
And now immediate timeout. 72-66 Notre Dame. The 72 points, the most allowed by Alabama in a game this year. And there's still 11:38 to go. But a concern for the Irish. Colin Falls, their senior. Terrific outside scorer, has 4 fouls and will take a seat.
He takes his 16 points in the ball game with him, but he also takes a scoring threat off the floor for Notre Dame. Makes him a little bit easier to guard.
And he stretches that D beautifully.
Boy, it's amazing. 11 and a half minutes to go. Notre Dame has put up 72 points.
Same play.
Gee, fouled at the rim by Kurz.
Got to get more pressure on the ball when it goes to that high post, but you really have to be a lot more alert on the wing.
But also the denial at the high post. The pass is easy. Nobody three-quartered. Herringody just standing up straight, and the ability. And Pete Carrill is somewhere watching the back doors and enjoying it. The old Princeton coach.
G makes the free throw. He has 10 points in the second half tonight. 16 for the ball game. Double figures now in 7 of their 8 games this season.
It's really not a hard adjustment to stop that back door. You just stay on the low side.
Let him go across the top.
Make him run into you.
Corey Jackson.
Nice post entry.
McElharney fed it inside. Herringody didn't get it up on the rim. Defended inside by Hendricks and Coleman. Here's Steele to G. And Hollinger, the other member of the Tide out there, lost on the handle by G to McElharney. 3 in transition. Off the shot clock. Let's get a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Here's Dari Nilka.
All right, guys, the University of Miami has a new head football coach, and it is defensive coordinator Randy Shannon, the 40-year-old Miami native, expected to be announced as early as tomorrow as Canes head coach. West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez currently mulling over a 6-year, $12 million offer to become head coach at Alabama. And Barry Bonds will stay in a Giant uniform as he continues his chase for Hank Aaron's all-time home run record. Bonds has agreed to a 1-year deal for about $16 million. Next SportsCenter after the game, ESPN News, always on, guys.
Luke Herringody, the foul here for Notre Dame. Fans starting to boo the officials. The whistles do seem to be coming much more frequently now. For the most part, they've let them play tonight. It's been an entertaining game. Now it looks like they want to get involved in the action with about 10 and a half to go.
Well, it's really piled up on Notre Dame. They've got 8 team fouls, and that means that Alabama is shooting free throws on every common foul the rest of the way.
2 fouls on Herringody. Goes out of the ball game for Hillsland. Hendricks with 5 points. Gene Cross, the new assistant coach on Mike Bray's staff this year, with a word for Herringody. Falls back in now with 4 fouls.
Well, this is where Mike Bray, relying on the fact that Falls is an experienced senior, that he can go the rest of the way without picking up a cheap one.
And in the first half, he had those 2 fouls played all 20 minutes, did not get the third.
Jackson, McElharney, Falls, 3 guards with Hillsland and Kurz. Jackson, freshman from Saginaw, Michigan, second youngest of 14 children. Falls missed a 3. Coleman had a finger on the rebound, couldn't control it. Hendricks did.
Well, he is starting to dominate low.
Now 2 to tie, 3 for the lead for Bama. And Steele shuffled his feet.
Now, if he were healthy, he would have been right up there with the left hand on the glass. You could see he's just a little bit hesitant. He's such a great talent.
First team preseason AP All-American. They only picked 5 players in the entire country. He was on the squad with Tyler Hansbrough, Joakim Noah, Glenn Davis, and Brandon Rush. 3 for McElharney.
Hillsland took it right to the rim, collapsed the D, and then the kick.
But that was just Alabama falling asleep defensively.
Yeah.
They weren't prepared when Notre Dame brought the ball up.
18 points for McElharney. He's made 4 threes. Notre Dame has made 11 threes in the ball game, and a charge against Alonzo G.
Now, Jay, that was a nice wrinkle. They loaded up. They didn't get the back cut, but G should have just turned and shot. He's got the elevation, the size, and strength over McElharney.
Well, he had Falls on him, and Falls was not going to risk getting a foul. The only way he could make a mistake was to charge, which is exactly what he wound up doing.
G to the bench with the 3 fouls, 4 team fouls this half against Alabama, down by 5. Approaching 9.5 to go.
A big possession here.
Hillsland handed it off to McElharney. Now Jackson. Falls. Good catch by Hillsland on a pass behind him. Jackson strong to the bucket. He'll go to the line.
Well, that looks a little like Memphis, huh? Drive, get everybody in, kick, reverse the ball. Great use of the bounce right now.
Third foul on Richard Hendricks. Mark Gottfried said this morning the concern with Hendricks has been foul difficulty for the former Mr. Basketball in Alabama and McDonald's All-American. Jackson, the free throw shooter, barely got it up to the front rim. Mentioned he's the second youngest of 14 children. Torrey has 9 older brothers, a younger brother, and 3 older sisters. 2 of the brothers and a sister moved down here to the South Bend area to be near Torrey Jackson, 2 times the Michigan Class C High School Player of the Year.
I know with Davidson on the floor, Sean, they've got to get him involved a little bit. He's got a size advantage and terrific talent down low.
Steele steps into a 3.
Or steal. Take your pick.
Well, last year in their loss against Notre Dame, he was bothered by a bad back. And tonight, playing with the tendonitis in his knee, he's already paid a visit to the famed Dr. Jim Andrews in Birmingham to have his knee looked at. Described it as if you have a bruise under your kneecap. Very painful. Kerr's strong drive with the left.
Boy, what patience, huh? Didn't pick it up, just pried a little, and then exploded.
And great use of the left hand, but again, nobody from Alabama coming over to pick up that drive.
Steele got the shot up after he collided with Jackson. They both went down without a whistle. Now Steele stuck behind the play. 5-on-4 Notre Dame, and Kerr's fouled by Jamario Davidson.
And that's the toughness we alluded to earlier. It's a different attitude, not only with Kerr's, but with this team, challenging the big fella.
Little rub screen, but Jamario Davidson has to come over there. It looked like he was being held a little bit, but he's got to come over there and either take a charge or block that shot.
Kerr's an excellent free throw shooter. Makes the first. He's now made 25 free throws in a row. 3 for 3 tonight. 36 out of 38 for the year now from the free throw line. And the lead up to 7. Largest of the night for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame sticking to man, but they're staying home a little bit more to try to help on those back doors and on the inside.
See if you can manufacture with a dribble down a post up. They get it down, didn't catch it.
Tough pass for Davidson with Hillsland swatting at the ball. Jackson got stuck in the air and didn't know what to do, but he went and got the ball back in a timeout. Mike Bray wants to rescue this possession. 30-second timeout called by the 47-year-old Mike Bray in his 7th year here at Notre Dame. ESPN has a college basketball doubleheader on Saturday at noon Eastern Time. The George Mason Patriots take on 9th-ranked Duke, and then at 2 Eastern we'll be in Milwaukee for that spirited in-state rival between the Wisconsin Badgers, ranked number 12 this week, and 20th-ranked Marquette. Wisconsin State bragging rights on the line. More information, log on to ESPN.com.
One of my favorite cities, Milwaukee.
We ask why?
The food's great.
It's a great town. Really is a terrific town.
Jazz. Some spots over the years. A couple of beverages are dispensed in the area.
Okay, sir. Now we're getting closer to the truth. Jazz. Carter will play it in. Falls back on the bench now. With those 4 fouls, the lead up to 7. A chance to get him a breather. Hillsland handed it off to Carter. Another deep 3. Rebounded by Jamario Davidson.
You live by it, and he's been knocking him down.
Double-double for Davidson. 12 points, 10 rebounds. Carter, this should be good.
Oh, my goodness. Just not a good pass on the perimeter, and the ability around the rim to complete. Send it in. Russell.
And the 3 Irish run. Davidson had his arm grabbed by Hillsland. Second foul on Zach. Last year he played very little. His name was pronounced by everybody around here Hillsland. His mom let the school know this year it's pronounced Hillsland prior to the dunk. They asked Zach, why didn't you say something last year? He said, last year I wasn't playing. It wasn't that big an issue. This year I am playing. It's Hillsland.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network. Cisco.
Notre Dame shooting the ball beautifully, 52% for the game, and protecting the ball. Just 5 turnovers committed tonight by the Fighting Irish. They haven't turned it over since 5:42 remained in the first half. Alabama's committed 9 turnovers since then. Now, the points off turnovers in the ballgame are 22-4 in favor of Notre Dame, so that's been a big part of this one.
And Jay, it's almost simple in the sense if Alabama goes high-low, they've been able to get the ball, get the big guy to the foul line, plus the dilemma for Notre Dame. Fouls.
I think if Alabama continues to pound the ball inside, that's going to be the best opportunity to get back into this ball game on the road.
Davidson missed the free throw. So it's Notre Dame with 7 minutes to go, leading by 9, and the Irish with the ball. They still have Falls on the bench with 4 fouls. Inside, Kurz. Couple of tries, couldn't get it to go.
Well, he used his body beautifully against Hendricks, but he held his ground defensively.
G. Gave it off to Davidson. And now whistle away from the ball. Zach Hillsland apparently called for the foul.
Jackson trying to do the damage on that cut.
They did give it to Jackson, his third.
Riley, shooting 2.
You like this guy, Jay? Got some ability.
Oh, he's a terrific player.
Number 15, Colin Falls.
Falls coming back in. Riley made the first free throw. Riley did not play basketball as a 9th grader or 10th grader in high school. As the manager of his high school team as a sophomore, he said he was too shy to tell the coach he wanted to try out for the team. Finally let them know he'd like to play as an 11th grader. And he's had a pretty nice career for himself once he got going.
And that's a trait that's escaped you, shyness.
Yeah, we've been talking for the last couple of years about Russell Carter saying he's the best athlete on this Notre Dame team, but I think you can make a pretty good argument that tonight with the way he's played, he might be the best athlete on the floor.
Alan Riley, his second, the 7th on the team. Carter's been a shaky free throw shooter this year and tonight. Makes the first. Both teams in the bonus now. Jackson in, Falls goes out. Almost like situation substitutions with 6 minutes plus to go.
This is basketball. We don't use that term. But you're right, Russell puts it on the floor. He made jump shots here. They hustle, get the opportunity.
You got to grab the ball. That couldn't have been easier for Alabama. They let it slip through their fingers.
Not as alert as you would expect.
Which often seems to happen on the road rather than at home, where you cannot afford it.
First true road game of the year. They played 3 games on a neutral court in the Virgin Islands in the Paradise Jam, where they had their 2 best wins of the season. Lots of fancy dribbling, but Jackson's shot got blocked. Now he has it back. 1 second on the shot clock, and that's a violation.
A tough defensive trip. And once again, Jackson getting a little, you mentioned early, Jay, he does get a little bit too deep. He's got his mind, he was going to spin dribble and get to the rim. You got to respect the size, and then your teammates will make themselves available for you as well.
Well, in high school, Torrey Jackson could get to the rim anytime he wanted to with his athleticism, his quickness, his great first step, but it's a different ball game with these Alabama defenders, especially inside with Davidson and guys like Alonzo G and Riley, who's long-armed, and Hendricks as well.
Nearly a full half's worth of basketball without a turnover for Notre Dame until that shot clock violation. Demario Davidson, great move, but then he missed the shot. Luke Herringody wound up with it for Notre Dame with the ball and an 8-point lead, 5:22 to go here at the Joyce Center with more than 10,000 on hand on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. Sean McDonough with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us. Our producer Scott Matthews, our director John McDonough.
Boy, Notre Dame doesn't want to take their foot off the gas now, but they are burning a little clock to make Alabama guard them every possession.
McElharney makes it a 10-point lead for the Irish.
And that open middle pass and cut, they're going to take it if they get it, if it presents itself.
G to steal. He got Jackson in the air, didn't get the contact though. G crashed the boards, but the rebound controlled by Carter.
Big time rebound. Oh my goodness. And he's shaking his head as well he should. Russell Carter.
4.5 to go. Falls at the table, waiting to check back in for the Irish.
Boy, what a matchup of athletes.
Kurz didn't see it coming from McElharney.
To watch Alonzo G and Russell Carter go after each other, those are a couple of big-time athletes.
And big-time frames as well. Always see the ball, though, ever since you start playing. Don't take your eye off it.
Mike Bray really agitated. They had everything going their way. You don't need to commit a turnover like that to perhaps spark a rally from the team down by 10 on the road. Alabama, Hendricks for 3. Rattles out, and Carter skies for his 5th rebound.
Sean, just taking over. Such a presence.
But why does Hendricks take a jump shot there?
I agree. Inadvertent walk in the backcourt.
McElharney didn't think he traveled, but he did. 10-point lead for Notre Dame, 3:59 to go. Notre Dame leads by 10, just under 4 minutes to go. They've been led by Russell Carter, 22 points, a season high. He has 5 rebounds and 4 steals.
And he's done it every way that you can. He's knocked shots down from the perimeter. He's grabbed big-time defensive rebounds, and off the steal, he knows how to finish.
He's really the personality of this team right now. And they're uptick, push the ball, challenge people, not afraid to take shots and make big shots.
Third 20-point game of the year. His previous season high was 20 against IPFW in Lafayette. Not playing the Mastodons or the Leopards tonight. Doing it against one of the best defensive teams in the country so far this season. Alabama, Hendricks double team, didn't get it up on the rim. Now he does, and he's fouled. A chance for 3.
I would like to have been in that timeout with Mark Gottfried after that jump shot, right? They got him right downtown.
I can tell you exactly what he told him. Get inside. And that's exactly what Hendricks did. Now, whenever a big guy gets his shot blocked that close to the rim, usually they're going to get their own offensive rebound. That's exactly what happened for Hendricks. And he went up strong. He is just a man inside.
Only 6 for Hendricks. He averages 13 a game. Both parents for Richard Hendricks are teachers. His dad was his high school coach as well. Hillsland back in for Herringody. Falls in as they head on offense.
Oh, a foul. It's a good call.
Hillsland, after he lost the ball, G was going after it, and Hillsland blocked him off, committed the foul. Costly turnover, and the second foul on Zach Hillsland.
Well, he did something called showing the ball. See how he puts it out in front of him and shows it to the defender, and G just took it right away from him.
And, he does handle the ball well, but he had Colin Falls right in the middle where they wanted him. All he had to do was pass it without the dribble.
Yeah, especially when you're locked in the corner like that. That's what Rick Pitino, when he was running all his presses, calls that the coffin corner. You get the ball out of there as quickly as you can.
Double bonus in effect. G made the first and the second. And here comes Alabama. Back within 5, still more than 3.5 minutes to go.
And now some real game pressure on Notre Dame. That cushion gone.
Ooh, low pass handled nicely by McElharney, trying to avoid traps.
They're trapping in all spots now.
Hendricks saying Hillsland was last to touch, but the officials do not agree. 17 to shoot for Notre Dame. Herringody comes back in for Hillsland.
Feels a little bit like Notre Dame's lost some offensive aggressiveness, like they're trying to hang on a little bit instead of continuing to look to score.
13 to shoot.
Aragody's got to turn and challenge this guy if he gets it again. Go strong.
Kurz, they need a shot. Kurz lowered his shoulder. No whistle. Herringody a three. Not the shot they wanted, but they needed it with the clock running down. And then Herringody a silly foul. And Notre Dame, really, guys, starting with that throwaway when McElharney threw it past Kurz when he wasn't looking. It was 85-75 when that happened. 5 unanswered for Alabama since, and they're inching closer.
And then the walk in the backcourt here. So they've made a lot of mistakes and not getting into sync on the offensive end.
Well, we mentioned it with about 5 minutes to go that it felt like they were trying to take their foot off the gas a little bit. You really do have to maintain your aggressiveness in looking to score and pressing up against that defense to make sure you're making them guard you. It's fine to use the clock, but you still want to look to score. And sometimes in situations like this, your aggressiveness only comes back when you lose that lead completely.
Herringody called for his 3rd foul. Of course, last season, remarkably heartbreaking throughout for Notre Dame. They finished at 16-14, lost to Michigan in the 2nd round of the NIT. But they had 8 losses out of those 14 by 3 points or less. They played 5 overtime games, 3 of those double OT, lost all 5. It very easily could have been a much better year, but instead they wound up in the NIT for the 3rd straight year. But give them credit. At one point last year, guys, they were 1-8 in the Big East. Looked like they had no chance of being one of the 12 teams to make it to Madison Square Garden, but they rallied late, won 5 of their last 7 conference games to make it into the 12-team field.
Well, you got to attribute to that guy to get them to hang in every game, come back and fight. But incidentally, Rob Kurz, a little blood on the floor. He's out. He's in the locker room right now. So that's what the delay. They got blood all over the floor. They're taking care of. You can see him running off here. And this kid has been banged around in his couple of years here.
Yeah, broken jaw a couple of years ago, broken nose earlier this year, and an inadvertent elbow from his teammate Herringody. They don't want to be without him. He's their leading rebounder and scorer for the year entering tonight.
Skip Meyer will be in there trying to stitch him up real quick.
Well, he's a tough kid. He'll be back quickly.
Still wiping blood off the court. That's the reason for the delay. Apparently, Kurz left a pretty good trail.
They have been physical under the rim. I mean, they've competed against a formidable opponent on the glass. They have just exuded power around the rim, Alabama. Steele's even leading the blood cleaning out here. That's your perfect point guard.
Ron Steele, not only one of the best players in the country, an excellent student, 2 times academic All-SEC, but it's Alonzo G at the line now, Steele's roommate and close friend. For a guy who's been iffy from the free throw line all year, he's made some big free throws in the last couple of moments. He's made 4 in a row. And the lead down to 3 for Notre Dame. Still an eternity to go. 3 minutes left. Look out. Falls a sloppy pass. Davidson deflected it away. G underneath for Riley.
Look at this.
And Herringody the rebound, and the elbows fly again.
He came from the top of the key to get that rebound. They're going to have to do it off the dribble. They don't have a post-up game unless...
They need this, and they get it from Russell Carter.
Wow. So much for the dribble concept. Nylon from deep.
Notre Dame looked totally out of sync, including at the beginning of that possession. Carter with a huge 3. Stop momentum, at least for a moment, for Alabama, and they turn it over off the leg of Jamario Davidson.
What a great job by Hillsland, just denying it.
2:15 to go. Notre Dame by 6. Carter, 3!
Oh, a space dribble. What confidence he's exuding.
They call it a 2, a long 2 for Carter. Now a takeaway by Herringody. Trying to go coast to coast. Fouled. Count it!
Have you ever seen a runaway freight train?
That's what it looks like. He's alone. Sally Weiss, you can't have him either.
Foul on G, his fourth. Luke Herringody, the freshman. First Notre Dame freshman to score in double figures in each of his first 5 games as a member of the Irish since Troy Murphy back in 1998. With a big play, Rob Kerr's back from the locker room, still showing the signs of the contact around that right eyebrow. And still the blood all over his jersey. He'll likely have to replace that jersey as well.
They talked about his toughness and what he means to this team. Inspirational.
First trip to the line tonight for Herringody. 83% for the year, 20 out of 24. Wasting no time. And all of a sudden, the lead back to 11. Kurz will put a new jersey on. Can't come back into the ball game with the blood all over the other one.
Look at this steal. What a read and sloppy offense. Carter they get a timeout.
Yep. Carter, the steal, falls, alertly saw he was in trouble and called the timeout. Mike Bray's been around a lot of players with high basketball IQs at Duke and Delaware. Now here at Notre Dame, he says Colin Falls has as high a basketball IQ as anybody he's ever been around.
Well, a smart player, but I'll tell you what, when Notre Dame was starting to wilt a little bit as a unit, the guy that brought him out of it was Russell Carter. He was absolutely fearless.
27 points for Carter, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He's 6 out of 10 from beyond the three-point line. We reset the game for you. Double bonus the rest of the way, and 2 timeouts for each. The arrow for Notre Dame.
And Sean, this foul situation with Alabama now putting Notre Dame into the double bonus with their next foul. That means that Notre Dame, they've got to be strong with the ball. With the lead, all they have to do is catch and be strong with it, because Alabama is going to be reaching for it, trying to knock it away.
And a nice job by Kurz, present himself in a post-up wearing number 22, by the way, in the change of uniform.
Now trying to kill some time. Looked like Steele was trying to foul McElharney. Couldn't get to him. Under a minute and a half to go. 12 to shoot. McElharney's an excellent free throw shooter, and so is Falls. Another thing that will help Notre Dame all year long. We talk about all those close games last year, but when you get down to the end of some of the close games this year and the ball's in the hands of Falls or McElharney and they're going to the line, you like your chances if you're Mike Bray.
Sure, and Kurz, too, another guy. Incidentally, Sean, why foul then if you're going to 9 seconds left? Do it right away if that's your concept. They get the clock and an opportunity for 2.
Falls 8 out of 9 from the line tonight. Senior from Park Ridge, Illinois, says he feels a lot quicker this year. He was bothered the last couple of years by plantar fasciitis in his left foot. If you've ever had that, it's very painful. Your arch stiffens, and it takes a long time to go away. But he had surgery over the summer. He said, I feel 100 times better than I have the last couple of years.
He looks quicker. There's no question about it.
Officials conferring now. Notre Dame has 6 men on the court. Kurz goes out. Kurz is bleeding again.
Skip Meyer, been around here for years, put up with Digger for all his years. He can handle anything.
This is the largest lead for Notre Dame. Seemingly on their way to back-to-back wins over ranked opponents. For the first time in 4 years. Davidson a 3.
He wants to keep it, get the foul.
And Falls fouled. If Notre Dame prevails, as it appears they will, they'd go to 7-1. and the only loss by 2 points to Butler. That was early on, and at the time he said, oh, here Notre Dame goes again. But now that Butler's 10-0 and they've had a number of other marquee wins, that loss doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it did at the time. And you have to like the excitement around this program. Mike Bray said not only was the win over Maryland a good resume builder, but it really gave our team a jolt to say, hey, we are good. We are capable of beating teams like this, and that's the kind of thing that can help propel you through the season.
The attitude's been terrific, I think, thus far. Watching practice yesterday and this morning.
I thought Bray made a great point. He says, you get so wrapped up in worrying about your resume and NCAA tournament wins that you forget about how important these wins are for team development right now.
The process, as he alluded to.
Well, if you wind up on the bubble, as they clearly did 2 seasons ago and 3 seasons ago, and they were 9 and 7 in the Big East each of those 2 years and did not get into the NCAA tournament. Wins over Maryland and Alabama out of your conference will certainly help you come bubble time this year. Notre Dame picked to finish 11th in the Big East in their preseason poll. Looks like they have a great chance to exceed that expectation. Understandable why the expectation would be that low, given they lost Chris Quinn and Turin Francis off their team of a year ago. Kerrs, wearing number 22, gets Notre Dame up to 99 points against a team that hadn't given up more than 65 all year. 14-0 run for Notre Dame. G tried to end that, and does with a 3.
Well, that's part of his game. That keeps coming. This kid is some talent.
Hillsland fouled, and the celebration begins. McElharney just gave Falls a big hug, and now goes to the other end to salute the student section. Mike Bray said after the win against Maryland, it's already been a good week. It has a chance to be a great week. Well, Coach Bray, you've had a great week.
Oh, a pre-Christmas like no other. Warren Inglesby along by there. They're a happy group.
I didn't think in a million years coming into this game that Notre Dame would hang 100 on Alabama. I mean, Alabama is a really, really good basketball team.
I thought they would play well.
Absolutely.
I never thought these numbers.
I mean, I can't think of very many teams in the country I would think, hey, well, Alabama better watch out. They'll hang 100 on them.
Hillsland trying to get them to 100. Crowd groans. They wanted 100. They'll have to settle for 99 and a win over the number 5 team in the country. And the students storm the court. So Notre Dame now 7-1, and Alabama with the loss. Its first of the season, also 7-1. "27 points for Russell Carter. 5 rebounds and 5 steals for the senior. Colin Falls at 20 points. Kyle McElharney 20. Alonzo G led Alabama in defeat with 24. Once again, the final score, Notre Dame 99, Alabama 85. Coming up next year on ESPN at Sports Center. And for continuing coverage of this game, we'll be on ESPN News in a moment with a post-game extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay Billis and Bill Raftery, Sean McDonough saying so long from South Bend. Now Scott Van Pelt.